Good evening. Welcome to the April 30th, 2024 City Council meeting. We'll start with the prayer. Dear God, today's session opens. We pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction to lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Robinson.
Here.
Mayor Rourke.
Here.
Councilor Scott.
Here.
Councilor Yem.
Here.
Councilor Chow.
Here.
Councilor Dakota.
Here.
Councilor Gitchia.
Here.
Councilor Janess.
Here.
Councilor Leahy.
Here.
Councilor Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Noon.
Here.
11 present.
Moments of silence. No. Mayor's Business Section 2.1, Communication, Remote Zoom Participation. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Noon. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 3, City Clerk. 3.1, Minutes of the Public Safety Subcommittee, April 23rd. City Council Regular Meeting, April 23rd. Technology and Utilities Subcommittee, April 24th for acceptance. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Janess, second by Councilor Gitchia. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 4, City Council Motions. 4.1, Councilor Janess. Request City Manager have proper department evaluate the installation of bollards at the corner of Central and Prescott Streets. Seconded by Councilor Chow. Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last week, the Lowell Heritage Partnership bell was hit by a car yet again. This has happened twice now in my time on the council. I think it just goes to show how dangerous that intersection is, and both from a protection of that park, which I understand is private property, but also any pedestrians who might be on that sidewalk. Should an incident like this occur again, which I think it's really a matter of time, I think it makes sense to look at adding some protection here. So if we could just have someone take a look at that and report back to us and let us know if that works out, I would appreciate it.
Those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 4.2, Councilor Janess. Request City Manager have proper department investigate daylighting of crosswalks on Central Street at Warren and Hurd Street intersections for better pedestrian safety. Seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is something that I've thought of myself, and I actually had a constituent reach out to me about it as well. Since the bridge has been fully repaired on Central Street and is now fully open to traffic, it feels like the average rate of speed is higher. It's making it difficult for folks crossing Central Street at those uncontrolled crosswalks. There's no signaling, there's nothing. So if we could do something to just figure out a way to slow the traffic down, light it better, and provide a safer crossing for folks coming across Central Street, I think it would be welcomed.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. I think this is a great motion. Again, with our resident guests in the ICC, it's Middlesex Community College. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic, plus the courthouse. So I think this is a great motion. And I myself have seen cars hitting 40, 45 plus miles an hour when there's no traffic, with pedestrians trying to play Frogger. So thank my colleague for bringing this forward.
Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. Through you to the manager, can we have people pay for those and advertise them on them, like, whatever, Leahy Insurance and then crosswalk, like, so maybe we could just investigate that, and if people wanted to purchase those crosswalk signs that you put in the middle of the road, and if it said, whatever, so-and-so insurance on top, who cares? But the main part is that, yeah, so, all right.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to the council. Council, that could be a procurement piece. We could look at it, though. Leahy Insurance on the Central Street. I don't know if the Historical Society will go with that, but we'll check it out. We'll see if we can get it through 30B or for procurement to see how that would work. But love the idea on the 25s and whatnot.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 4.3, Councilor Mercia requests city manager review possibility of restructuring the elections department in regards to the table of organization. Seconded by Councilor Robinson. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a review that I'm asking for to possibly look under your table of organizations. The election right now comes under the law department, but technically, and for many, many years, it always came under the clerk's office. I'm not trying to burden Mr. City Clerk, but I ran it by him and he didn't have a problem. So I think if we could just revisit that and see if maybe I don't know how it ever changed. I must have been asleep at the wheel at that time, but it really should be under the clerk's office. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 4.4, Councilor Noon requests city manager have the proper department report on the upcoming contract negotiation with Waste Management regarding the hauler and processor of recyclable items to assure maximum efficiency. Seconded by Councilor Robinson. Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the contract is up for renewal in December, right? So I think we should start negotiations now, and looking at, not just the waste management, but also maybe a possibility or an option of breaking down into maybe section or district, to see the cost. Because, we have, with waste management a couple of years ago, we have problem with, picking up and delay and all that stuff. So see what we can do on it. I think it's true is that the cost for holding and recycling is going up. What $8 million now per year? That's a lot of money. And yet I think the rate that we had per home per year is like 100 something. It's not even paid for that. It's just ridiculous. So maybe looking at that, but also looking at how we can maybe looking at alternative or the Y into section or district. Start that negotiation. Start that look right now because we don't have much time. I think 6-7 months away. So will be good, and just update us as to where you at on it. Every couple months. Thank you.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. Again, a great motion. I think we've discussed this in the past. We're having trouble with pickups regularly, routinely, but it seems like it's improved tremendously as of late. But I don't know, does it make sense to split the city in halves, into quarters? Is it smaller companies coming in and doing different components? One does recycling, one does waste, one does yard pickup. I don't know, but I think a good cost comparison analysis of what our options are would be great. And I mean, please don't hesitate to even consider a long-term plan, including maybe transfer station somewhere in the city and us taking some form of it back to offset cost if need be too. So I think at least if we have that data presented to us, we can make an informed decision with that. Thank you.
Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to City Manager. What is your thought process at this point, Mr. City Manager? where we're going with this? Are we in negotiations? I mean, I know people are asking for an update, but have you begun the process? And can you give the council maybe an update of what your thought process is?
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council, this is one of the situations where all options are on the table. So I welcome all the thoughts of, transfers or splitting the city or composting or recycling. But because of the situation that we're probably going to be in, going out into a bid, I don't think we can discuss this at this time. So I just want to be cognizant, and if I could get back to you, but I just want to be very, very careful about this. But I would welcome all ideas that councilors have given about splitting the city into 1 to 2 to 3, which we're writing down, and recycling and composting and transfer stations, or if anything else that councilors have. But at this point, I'd like to refrain from speaking about that, if that's okay with the council.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 4.5, Councilor Noon. Request city manager to have the superintendent of the Lowell Police Department update the city council on grants that offset the costs of video cameras for businesses, nonprofits, and religious institutions. Also report on the potential to connect video cameras to the network for use by the Lowell Police Department for advancing public safety efforts in the neighborhoods. Seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We all know that the video civilian footage is very important in today criminal investigations, and having assistance, more like incentivize the business to install a camera. Maybe by themselves they probably don't see a need to, but if there's a grant there to incentivize them to do so, and do so in a way that also protect themselves, and being a resource to police investigation. And that way, sometime I know that our detective is very well experienced in terms of canvass the neighborhood and looking for footage and all that. But if you have it right around the corner next to the scene of the crime, is always great to have that. The closer you get, the strengthening the cases you have. So I think that any grant that available, we can maybe look at the Department of Justice, or maybe a Executive Office of Public Safety, for such a funding, if there's one available, and that just, I put it out there to do that. I just hoping that we can get something this day and age that you have Department of Justice and or Public Safety Office would say, hey, this is some grant for a video civilian for small businesses and stuff like that would enhance or help your police department, and stuff like that. So, thank you.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. I actually read there's some communities that actually used ARPA funding, and what they would do is part of a welcome kit to a small startup business, they'd provide a Ring floodlight cam to the business as long as they get approval by the landlord, the building owner. And again, the police force in that community pretty much said that that's helped with a lot of cases, because now you have something that can track motion from storefront to storefront or whatever it may be. So I think this is a great idea as well to explore. Thank you.
Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do agree with the motion as far as the possibility of providing, if there is any grants out there for businesses to connect systems. My only caution, I guess, would be the idea of connecting into a network for the police department to make sure that we have a policy out there about when cameras are activated, what they're used for. I mean, I just think they'd have to go hand in hand with that type of policy if we did something like that. Thank you.
Councilor Yam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Along that line, I just also caution some of the residents who frequent the businesses may not agree to have their pictures videotaped and share without their consensus. So it's from the rights of individual privacy law. So just be cautioned about that. It's a great motion, but we need to be cautioned about the privacy law. Thank you.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since we're being so cautious, let me then say, that I want cameras all along First Street, all along 110, to catch the son of a guns that are throwing couches and bathtubs and you name it all along the roadway. You're coming down 110 right into the gateway to the city. You look to the right and you look at the beautiful area and you see a sofa there. I wish we had the money to put a fence up, and I wish we could put cameras to catch the people that are using it as a garbage dump, because I'm sick of it. This is a beautiful city, but if people want to get out of paying to have something taken away from their home and brought to a dump, they're using that as the dump, and I'm tired of it, and it makes this city a blemish that I don't like.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 4.6, Council Robinson requests city manager have the proper department provide what is our current policy to protect the city against potential ethics filings that could place a liability on the city. Seconded by Councilor Gitchia. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. So looking into this, this has come up in the past 3 years quite a bit when the potential ethics violations and the way the State Ethics Commission works, pretty much they won't give third-party advice with the lawyer of the day, so it's on the individual person to receive that information, and it's not really documented. So I think the council, to protect the city, should adopt or look at having a policy where if there's a potential conflict with ethics for anybody, they'd be required to self-certify with something on file, like kind of a declaration that would be signed and dated by that individual and placed on file in the clerk's office. So if an investigation is triggered and there is a finding of a violation, it doesn't fall on the city, it'd be on that individual person, because, you know, the clerk and the city would have protection by means of that self-certification on file. Thank you.
Anything else? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 4.7, Council Robinson requests city manager explore possible means to assist Lowell Public Schools in retaining the community schools model in District 2. Seconded by Council Mercia. Council Robinson.
Thank
There's
you.
a registered speaker here, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Clerk.
Zoe Zaniku.
Good evening, City Council, and good evening, Mayor, good evening, City Manager, and everyone here. My name is Zoe Zaniku. I live at 129 3rd Street in Lowell, Massachusetts. I am speaking on this motion because it is incredibly impactful and important. The fact that currently we, as a district, have community schools and are trying community schools as a pilot is important. Now, the first thing I did want to just talk to you about as I was sitting there thinking about what it is that I was going to say, I want you to picture a student, a middle school student that has a parent that works all hours of the day. That student most likely would not be driven by the parent to school. Maybe walks or takes a bus. Most likely has not had breakfast in the morning because the parent is at work. The student then gets to school and is given a chance to eat breakfast. Then the student also may or may not have clean clothes on that day and is picked on. The student is expected to learn. The student is expected to listen. The student is expected to excel. What community schools does as a strategy is remove a bunch of those barriers for our students. Now, I know that the district has just only piloted this strategy for the last maybe 2 years. Currently, there is a 5-year grant that the district does have. However, with the budgets and information that may have been going on, we're not sure if we're able to continue this strategy. I felt very compelled because this is my district. And this district is a reflection of how I grew up. Understanding a community school is understanding a child that gets all of the barriers removed, and all they have to do is think about learning in schools. There's 3 things I want you to take away from this. A community schools provides not just meals, but health care, wraparound services within the schools, mental health counseling, and other services during, before, and after school. It also creates and promotes opportunities for families to be welcomed into a school. Now, I know that there is a partnership that happens when children are going to school. And sometimes, especially working within the school department now, it's so hard to have parents come in and make time to build those partnerships. But what this strategy does is gives opportunities for them to come in, feel welcome, and then also help. The community school looks at the whole child, not just education, but the whole child. I want you guys to really think about this. I know it may not be #1 on everyone's list, but working and seeing the impact the last 1.5 years has been absolutely amazing. So many families have been impacted. We need to stop and we need to see what is working and not just think about the dollars and the cents, but the impact to us today and for our future generation. Thank you.
Councilor Robertson?
Thank you. I'd like to thank the speaker. This is just a request to look at any means. I'm not sure. I know the school has full purview. It's whatever they need to do with their budget. This is just looking at, would there be a way potentially, if that is some programming that is in jeopardy of being cut due to budgetary issues or whatever it may be, if there's a way that we could help. I've had conversations in the past where they were looking at this community school model, and they were looking to expand potentially after school hours and offer eye exams to families in the neighborhood, all kind of resources. So again, in District 2 especially, I know that district pretty well, and a lot of families benefit from this model. We're always talking about test scores and home life and some single family homes or whatever it may be. 2-job parents that are barely home enough to really put in that effort to the extra work with the child. So, I mean, any opportunity there is to bring parents in and get them engaged and involved in their child's education, I think Lowell Public does a great job at fostering that. And if this is a program that is in jeopardy of being cut, which I'm not sure, this is their world, is that something we could look at to kind of help out in one way, shape, or form? Thank you.
Councilor Dakota?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to thank the speaker as well. I'm fairly sure this does come under the purview of the school committee, but I'm sure that the city would be willing to help out, understanding what the budget restraints are with the school department this year. I'm not sure if that could become a reality concerning students that go to school in the morning, free breakfast, free lunch, clothing, Kay's Closet. I think the Lowell Public Schools does a very good job in helping those children learn to the best of their ability. So I would ask the speaker or make a motion here that this be brought to, by you maybe, Mr. Mayor, brought to the school committee for more discussion.
Councilor Robinson?
Yeah, thank you for the comments by my colleague. I'm open to any way this has to go. I mean, the core of this motion is if that's in jeopardy on the school side, which is their purview, could we step in and somehow help if need be? I mean, they might turn around and say, no, we're keeping this model. I mean, again, this is their own budgetary situation, but if the community school model is going to be eliminated for whatever reason, could we help? And yes, if you think it's the right flow to get the answers that I'm looking for, to go to the school side with it, by all means, I welcome it all. Thank you.
Councilor Scott, then Councilor Getchia. Councilor Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually was just going to make similar comments. I know our motion last week, several people expressed concern that it was really under the purview of the school committee. I would say that this one goes even well beyond that, because I don't even think this is the responsibility of the school committee. Actually, under Massachusetts state law, the management of the school and under ed reform is solely the responsibility of the principal at the school. So I don't think we have any say in this at all. If the superintendent felt that he needed additional funds to continue with this program at that school, then that would be something he would bring forward in a budget request. So I am not voting to support this, just because, like I said, it is solely the decision-making of the school principal. Thank you.
Councilor Getchia?
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. I would agree. I think we walk on the line of what's the school committee and what is the city's purview. I would think the council's purview. So I agree with Councilor Scott. I won't be voting in favor of this also. I think it should come from the school committee to us. Thank you.
Councilor Chow?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the speaker to speak on this matter as well. This is a good motion. It's a concern by all of us, even though it's on the school side, under the purviews of the management of the school district. But all as councillors, we are leaders in our community. We do have concern, and we do want to support that. Instead of voting this motion down, a couple of comments from a couple of my colleagues is to refer to the mayor as chairman of the school committee. If I don't know if the Councilor Dakota you first brought up, if you wouldn't mind, you ask the maker of the motion to refer this motion to the mayor, to bring this back to the school committee and have a discussion about that, what we can do and so forth. Would that be possible?
Yep.
Yeah.
Councilor
I'll just
Robinson?
caution that.
Councilor Robinson, you good with that? Okay.
Yeah.
The motion.
I'm open to whatever way you think would be best for this.
Thank you, everybody. I think that the caution has to be that it's District 2, which the motion on the face of it is well intended. But, we have multiple districts in the city. If you want to start asking for District 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I mean, just got to be careful. I think tonight's speaking on it was heard, I would imagine. If the council tells me to bring it to the school committee, I absolutely will. But a member of the school committee has the same amount of influence as a member of the city council in this subject. So I'll leave it at that. Roll call.
Excuse me. So what are we voting on? Are we voting on the mayor bringing it forward, or are we voting on the motion on the floor?
The motion on the floor was made by Councilor Dakota to bring it to the school committee, and you seconded it.
Okay, then sure.
I thought it was Council Chow, the school committee, seconded by Council Dakota.
I think Councilor Charles is in support of it, but Councilor
The
Dakota.
original motion was by Councilor Dakota to refer it
Roll
to
call,
the
please.
mayor. Yeah.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Council Scott.
No.
Mayor Rourke.
No.
Council Yem.
No.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
No.
Council Janess.
No.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Noon.
Yes.
6 yeas.
I'll bring it forward. 4.8, Councilor Young, request city manager have the appropriate department update the city council on development at 4-8 Wigan Street and 153 Willie Street. Seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I drove by and noticed that the for sale sign was posted at the 153 Willie Street. I understand that as councilor, we voted to allocate 153 as a surplus, and then the city sold that parcel of land to Lynn and Lowell LLC to develop a 12 units on that property along with 4-H Wigan Street. So it's been over 2 years. So I just want to have an update on what happened and the reason for the sales of this property instead of moving forward with the development as was requested by the developer 2 years ago. Thank you so much.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 4.9, Councilor Getchia requests City Council vote to take the school department unpaid invoices from prior years from the table. Seconded by Councilor Robinson.
Could I suspend the rules to take this out of order going towards just before executive session to allow someone from the school department enough time to get here? They were another.
Councilor, I took it with the clerk, but I think it's just a roll call motion, no comments at all on it.
Okay.
That makes sense. Right, Mr. Clerk, is that cool? Right?
Yeah, there's, we can vote to take it off the table. We don't have to get to the vote right at this point.
So should we move to take it off the table towards the
My
end?
suggestion would be just
right
have a
now?
roll call vote and then.
Okay. Okay, whatever way, either way, it doesn't matter. Okay.
So motion to take it off the table. Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott.
Yes.
Council Yem.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council New.
Yes.
410, Councilor Getchia, Councilor Dakota, request city manager have proper department amend chapter 266, subsection 82, Acre Highlands residential parking area by adding letter C, Livingston Avenue and Winona Street, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No second needed. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city clerk to have this petition move forward to a public hearing. I'll let Councilor Getchia speak if he wants.
I would agree with Councilor Dakota.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 411, Councilor Getchia and myself request city manager have the traffic engineer reach out to DeMoss to make the proper repairs to the sign located on Vonham Ave at Old Ferry Road. Councilor Getchia, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. I have reached out to Assistant City Manager Machado on this issue because the timing delays are way off. And you got busing that is just held up over there and trying to move. And he informed me that the Demoulas Companies is in charge of that light signal because of the roundabout situation wasn't put together or something to that effect. I'm just asking that we get to the Demoulas Companies and say, you know, these are our roads, and every time we try to make an adjustment to this light, it's making people extremely frustrated at that light, and people are just going through the red light at some point. So if we can just see if there's a faster way of getting this repaired than having to go through them, we should actually have ownership if it's on a public way, and I don't know how we don't. So that's really what this motion was about, and I thank the mayor for being a part of it.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 5. Oh, sorry, Councilor Lee, go ahead.
Thank you. Just a quick question. So you're talking about the lights there? That the timing is off on the lights? Okay.
I know a little while ago, the signal box was down for a period of time, and I believe that's been repaired, but can't take another look at it.
And then do we know, are they in the process of are they gonna make a roundabout there, or is it gonna be lights, or do we know what's?
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, 3 of the council. That's still an illegal appeal process going on right now. It's been going on for I believe the last 3 years.
All right.
Maybe
And then the whole
3+
situation
years.
with the property around there,
That's correct.
that's all under
Yes, sir.
whatever legal, okay. All right, thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 5, 5.1, motion responses. Health insurance comparison. Councilor Leahy?
Thank you for the report. It was informative, so I just, I did speak to different people on this, and I understand how complicated it can get. But I just want to make sure that we're always looking for the best health care and the best responsible insurance for the employees of the city of Lowell. So thank you for the report.
Motion response, no motorized
Mayor.
vehicle.
Could I suspend the rules to go back to the school committee's,
You want
school
to do
department's invoices.
6.2, Counselor?
The school department's invoices, yeah.
6.2, you want to take it out of order, go 6. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Motion to take 6.2, vote out of order by Councilor Getchia, second by Councilor Dakota. All those in favor say aye. Passes. 6.2, vote. Authorize payment of bills incurred in excess of appropriations, school department. Already been removed from the table by a roll call vote. Waive the full reading. You ready to go, Mr. Clerk? Yeah. Vote to approve the payment of unpaid invoices from prior fiscal years for the school department. And a motion to adopt by Councilor Robinson, second by Councilor Mercia. Comments? Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Through you to Superintendent Skinner. It's very concerning to us that this is just, it's getting worse. It hadn't gotten better. Last year, we tabled them when there were 6 unpaid bills, and one of them was over $100,000 and didn't have any type of procurement to it. And the reason why we have purchase orders and stuff like that, as you well know, is so that we do follow the procurement piece. And when we look at this year's, there were 17. One of them was a $150,000 bill that didn't have a purchase order. And many of them, when you look at it, it just says bills arrived late, which if you look at the invoices, they were sent on time. They went to 155 Merrimack Street, School Department. Everything seemed to be in order. I know that you're in the middle of revamping the finance department, and I thank you for that. I'm just hoping going forward that we have policies in place that we work back and forth with the city so that this isn't a reoccurring event. And that's really why we were here trying to discuss this, is because I think that it's important that procurement is followed so that the city gets not only coverage on it, but there's a benefit to the city in the way we spend bills. And that's really the only reason why
Excuse me,
we
Councilor.
have you here.
Excuse me, Councilor. My apologies. I'm going to need to recuse myself from this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Councilor Dakota recuses himself on the record. So, yeah.
Good.
Councilor,
Do you have anything you want to add at this point?
Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors, for the opportunity. There's nothing I heard from Councillor Getchia or others that I don't agree with. It's not acceptable that bad bills be at the rate that they're at. It's not how the central office is operating, but it's a historical issue that needs to be addressed. We need far more controls. We need more direct and consistent collaboration with city. I, by the way, have enjoyed a tremendous relationship with city officials. City manager has been very supportive. Mr. Baldwin is familiar with my phone number and with the calls that he receives from me. We need more of that. We are hiring a new chief of finance, assistant superintendent of finance for the school department, and I have a laundry list of recommendations and requirements for that person that they'll begin and work on in the job. You won't see me back here next year talking about bad bills.
I thank you for that, but I do think we will see you back there, because someone had called me and said there's a bad bill that's not on this list. So you may, but it may be something that you're cleaning up from years prior to what you're doing right now. So I thank you for coming out tonight. I think that it's important that the residents see that you're invested in making a difference in this area, and I welcomed many of the conversations I've had with the city manager and the CFO and also Kelly Oates on this topic. I think it's important that we dial in and try to share back and forth on how we have mechanisms in place to prevent it. And I thank you again.
Thank you.
Councilor Robinson?
Thank you. Through you to Superintendent Skinner, thank you. This was discussed in the past. It's refreshing to see, new position, you're overseeing a large department, and it seems like you're well aware of the situation. And my only ask would be, once some of these new stopgaps and safety measures are implemented, is there any way maybe we could be brought up to speed on the council side just to see some of the things that would help prevent this in the future? And thank you again for addressing this head on.
Thank you, Councillor Robinson. I'd be happy to provide an update to the council. I've already committed to sharing updates with the school committee. So the school committee, through the finance committee last Thursday evening, we discussed a series of the recommendations that I'm talking about. I offered that we're going to outline all the recommendations in a spreadsheet, and we're going to go one by one and update the committee on a regular basis about what's been put in place. That will be a public document. We'll be sharing it with CFO Baldwin, so it'll be happy to give you updates. Thank you.
Any other comments? Councilor Yam?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to the superintendent for coming up and speak with us. And I, for one, will vote to support to pay this bill. So hopefully in the future, next year and all that, we will not see this bad bill again. So we hope and we want to work with you to kind of reduce this kind of a bad bill, because people who are small businesses provide services to the school and they have not been paid, so it's not so fair to them. But it is not a really good bill. You look at it, it's been backdated and all of that. So we hope that by working together with you and the city, we will reduce this kind of a bad bill down the road in the future. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you, Councillor. Again, I agree with the sentiments, and Councillor Yam introduced another one that I believe in very much, is that, you know, we live and work in a terrific city, and it's a community. And it's not fair on vendors in our city to have rendered services and not be paid for them. It's just yet another reason we need to clear this up, and we'll do so.
Mr. Superintendent, thank you very much. I'm glad that you understand the frustration that the council as a whole feels on this matter as well, and look forward to not seeing you back here again next year. With that being said, a motion to adopt by Councilor Getchia, seconded by Councilor Janess. Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Councilor Scott.
Yes.
Councilor Yem.
Yes.
Councilor Chow.
Yes.
Councilor Dakota. Councilor Getchia.
Yes.
Councilor Janess.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy. Yes. Councilor Mercier.
Yes.
Councilor Noon.
Yes.
10 yeas.
Returning to the agenda, 5.1 motion responses. No motorized vehicles in city parks. Councilor Yem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for a great at-length report. And I got a good response back from the resident who watched the motion and asked that that the city continue to work with the police department to post it at all the parks throughout the city. And then number two, they were hoping that the bollards will be installed in wide entrance to other parks, and provide the enforcement as weather getting better. Their fear is that there will be a dirt bike, parade through the parks like it happened on the North Common a few weeks ago. Again, I just want to say thank you for the motion, great motion, and the enforcement needed. Thank you so much.
I'm glad you think your motion was great, Councilor Yem. Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the report, and I just wanted to note that I really do appreciate the last paragraph, which talks about electric bicycles and scooters and how they have to be treated differently than dirt bikes. They're a key piece of any transportation plan that includes getting people out of cars, getting people to walk places, to ride their bikes places. Is going to help everybody. It's going to help the drivers. It's going to help the folks who get out of their cars. And it's important to note that we're going to treat them as their own mode of transportation and not as, just another dirt bike or moped. And so I just wanted to say that I really appreciated that angle to this. Thank you.
Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Through you to Manager Golden. Over at Hadley Park, there used to be a bollard in the middle that separated with a chain that ran across that would stop people from pulling on in between the skateboard park and actually the park. It's gone, and now they just pull up there at free will, just pulling in there. And it's not only dangerous for the kids that are playing in the playground, but there's also an ability to drive onto the fields. And if you could look at trying to get something back there that's removable so that we can actually keep people out of that area, it'd be nice. Thank you.
Motion response, tax, title, vacant properties, and plan disposition. Councilor Scott and Chow. Councilor Scott.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you very much for this report. It's very thorough, but I do have a few questions, concerns about it. Obviously, this says there's 535 properties. I know there's 3 homes right in my district that are rotting away, which is why I made the motion about Kinsman Street. 3 empty lots that have been sitting in tax title for years. We're in the middle of a housing crisis right now, and we have many properties that are just in total disrepair and unoccupied. So I guess the only thing I'm missing from this is possibly more of a status update on these properties. You know, where are we with them? So I don't know if that can come back kind of quarterly or something, kind of an update. Some of these are so old. 1970, the Kinsman Street house was. I mean, it was being occupied by somebody for 20-something years, you know, without paying, or I mean, they were squatting in the home. So we really just need an update on these. Thank you.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council, you're absolutely correct. Some of these land court issues and problems, Council Yem, you'd know this, but if anybody has a direct concern about anything that's in the neighboring areas, I'm quite confident we can start in that, at the Kinsman Street area, for instance. But we'll have the legal department to find out exactly what the problem is and then how to resolve it. But when it gets to this situation, sometimes there are multiple liens against the property, and then when you get into the situation where heirs are not readily available, when it's left to 5, 6, 7, 8 different family members, it becomes a major problem, and it does sometimes take years, and then next thing you know, it's a decade.
Well, and I understand that, but this is 50 years, literally.
Agreed.
So that's, I mean, I understand the process is slow, but that kind of
ridiculously
is
slow.
as slow as could be. And I just want to see what we can do to jumpstart the process. And I'm asking for, like I said, maybe quarterly updates on these, because these have just sat too long.
I think that's
Thank
fair.
you.
Understood.
Council Chow?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And, you know, Councilor Scott and I, we had the same motion to get information on the status report. I know first of all, thank you, reports very details, over 500 properties here on the list. I know it's a lot of work ahead. If you could come back, as Councilor Scott mentioned, a quarterly update on what's going on with each of the property. You know, there's a lot of money, a lot of revenue that the city can benefit from this as well once the work has been completed. Thank you.
Council Gitcha?
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. You know, we talked about partnerships with the Lowell Housing Authority. When you look at it, they have 10 properties that are on here for $73,000 on your list. And it isn't 10 properties, I'm sorry. There are 10 different issues on here for $73,000. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the manager, would you speak on that? Have they been paid? Because on the piece we got, it had $73,000 in the arrears.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council is sometimes, and I'm going to leave this to our legal department, if a sale is made at the time during the year, when that sale is made, there is a clear title that is given, as well as clear tax title, any tax liens. It is not updated until the next year. So in this matter, someone's name, because I've heard from other folks who are quote-unquote the owners, they don't necessarily own the property because they sold the property. And with that particular piece, that will not be updated, and I believe until January 1st of the following year. And that would be January 1st of 2025, per Mass General Law. So in some matters, folks, once again, have... some of the owners have called and said, hey, you know, I don't own that property anymore, but yet my name is in the paper. That's not something that we can actually deal with. And from the housing authority situation, these were their scattered sites that I looked at a few of them, and they've been sold. And I wonder if Mr. McKenna, is he here? Mr. McKenna. In regards to this, Attorney McKenna, could you dive a little bit deeper into the subsequent owners with this particular matter, if you could, sir?
Yes, John McKenna from the Law Department. So when you have the assessed owner as the January 1st of the prior year, so the owner as of January 1st, 2024 will be the assessed owner for fiscal year 2025. So when a property is sold after January 1st, it's not picked up. I think there was one of these properties like December 24th, but for the most part, if they get to pick up the owner as of January 1st, that's the assessed owner. You set the owner, the assessors use that as the owner, and then they have a preliminary tax, and then the actual tax rate is set in January, and you have the actual bill. When you do a taking, you have to list the assessed owner. Pursuant to the Chapter 60, you need to have the assessed owner on there, and then you also include the present owner. So when it comes down to something like that, we do the best we can to notify the present owner, because we don't want the person that sold it to be, put into the paper, which is required. So we do all we can to avoid that. In the particular example with the Lowell Housing Authority, as the manager said, there were some properties that were sold to a particular owner. When we sell a property, the city, we do a pro forma tax, and we collect the tax that's due for the year prior, and that's required in all our sales. So when we sell a property like a vacant, a yard sale or any type of property at all, at auction, we'll do a pro forma tax for the upcoming fiscal year. So we collect that tax at the closing. Typically, that's done on a government closing. So in these particular cases, we'll, check with the housing authority and see what happened at that closing, but that's just an isolated incident.
Some of these ones that are on here, and I thank you for the explanation because it makes sense. Some of these that are on here, 8 out of the 10 are from 2021, which should have been cleaned up in 2022. If that's, I may be reading it wrong. That's why I'm just asking. But this $12 million, so if you look at that, that's really not an owed amount if you look at it the way that it's being explained.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
So when you look at this, some of the Lowell housing authorities are from 2021, 8 of them, and 2 of them are from 2022. So the 2022 should have been cleaned up in 2023, and the 2021 should have been cleaned up in 2022, if I'm
That's correct.
understanding. Yeah. And they're listed in this. That's what throws me off. I'm like, okay, so how does that happen? And maybe they don't owe it, but I'm just reading the report that was given to us. So that's all the information we have. And the explanation says that the following year it's clean, but these haven't been cleaned. So it must be on our side that it's not cleaned? Or was it paid?
It's not on our side that's not clean. They just need to be addressed and identified.
Are these funds still owed?
They are still
Yes,
owed.
but they would be owed, but they were cleared. They were cleared originally. Hypothetically, and Mr. McKenna, I hope I'm saying this correctly, if it was bought in February, it was cleared in February, but March, April, May, June, July, August, if the owner still didn't pay that tax or has something against it, the subsequent owner is still listed, and it carries forward, as I understand how this works. So
Right.
that's why there are people erroneously that are on this, but that's once again the way the MGL states, is that we keep the subsequent owner as a part of this until it's cleared. Mr. McKenna, I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Well, it's the assessed owner. The subsequent owner is who you go after.
Just till the following year when it's cleared.
So on all these tax title accounts, on all the tax title accounts, we were doing the auction at first. Then we're not doing the auction because of the recent Supreme Court case. And a recent case came down in Massachusetts that said it's not constitutional here in Massachusetts to take the equity over and beyond the taxes. It was a Springfield case that came out last week. So we're not doing the auction of these cases. Now we're proceeding with the land court cases like we did in the past. So we're catching up on all these tax title cases. Back 2021, 22, we had a depleted office upstairs there. I wasn't just doing tax title work, I was doing pretty much everything else. So now we're catching up. We have a full staff up there. Stephanie Hunter's the paralegal. She's doing a great job. We have figures that she collected about $100,000 each month this quarter, Eric. So from like January, February, March, we're proceeding with the land court cases. And as the free cash was certified a couple months back, we're using that money to file these cases through the treasurer's office. So, it's all being attended to now. The old cases will be able to be addressed because we have time to do title exams to find out who the old owners are, unlike some of these old files that have probate research done. with a full staff, we can address those issues. So you're going to find in the coming year, there's going to be a lot more tax title collections being made. The years prior, there just wasn't enough staff to address these issues, but now we have a full staff, so we're going to be able to really hit the tax title hard, as we did in the past.
The thing that I don't understand is that if it got sold at that time, 40 Griffin Street, they had to pay taxes from 2021 on. Do they know about this $398 bill? Or does it go to the Lowell Housing Authority because it has that Lowell Housing Authority's name on it? See where the confusion is? Why would you pay all your taxes here and collect interest on something over here if you know about it? It doesn't make sense when it's such a small amount and it gains such a large amount in interest. So that's where the confusing piece comes in for me. But if you're saying that, I thought that from what you said was it would be cleared up the following year, but it's more. Okay, thank you.
They
Thank
may
you.
have purchased it, they may have sold it to somebody else after they got it from the Housing Authority. There may have been a bit of confusion, but certainly we've identified these accounts, and these are ones that can be addressed. There's a reason for it. We can address it, contact Housing Authority, contact the people that bought
Let's
it,
get you-
find out what happened
set?
on this.
Great. Councilor Mercer, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know that Attorney John McKenna is the tax title person. Who's the asset manager? It's a who? Who's the asset manager?
Mr.
Rose?
Coloris, George Coloris.
Who is it?
George Coloris.
Oh, it's very disheartening to see a list like this and see the property that used to be across the street from when I lived on Royal Street. And in 1993, 31 years ago, the house burnt to the ground because the lady that lived there left the dryer on and it never shut off, and she went to bed and it caught fire and it burned to the ground. 31 years, it's been vacant property, it's on tax title, and nothing has been done in 31 years with it. It's very frustrating to see that. If it's an unbuildable lot, why do we not offer it to each abutter? I don't understand that.
Well, the properties on this list have not been foreclosed. We don't have a decree from the land court on these particular.
Then what is wrong with the land court, that they have to wait 31 years to help out the city of Lowell so that we see money building up, but we don't get anything? Now, I know that there's only one son of that lady, and he's probably in Maine, and he probably could care less about it. So shouldn't an amount of time go by when you say, well, if nobody's coming forward, we put notices in the paper, it is now the city's?
On a case like that, you may have one son for that particular lady, but she might have inherited from somebody else, and there could be other sisters or cousins that
There's
she had
nobody
bought
else.
it.
I know the whole family. They're all deceased.
Yeah, but
I could be a
in
witness to that.
matrices of heirs, the land court is one court for the entire state. The land court has been very responsive. Anytime the city of Lowell needs a judgment or needs action taken, land court has been very responsive for the city. But some of these cases need a lot of work to find who the people are with the probate cases. And as I said before, we have a full staff in the law department now.
This
Be able to do more
son
research.
probably could have died. There's probably nobody available, so.
And we're assuming that she had good title to the property as well. So is that 36 Royal Street?
Yes.
I'm familiar with that from when I was here prior. There's other issues with that title, but these matters can now be addressed. But when we're doing these cases, we have $4 million to collect. When we go to file these cases, we're going for the ones that have the highest balance. We send out the notices. We try to get the money in as easiest as we can. When it comes to these cases, 80% of your effort in research is going to go to about 15% of the caseload. So if you go and you can get most of the work done with the least amount of work, you go and you get that work done. So now we're able to address the older cases that we haven't had the time to take all the days to go and do the research for those one particular matter for that one vacant lot. Whereas we have other issues that we're addressing.
I know you do, but it's very frustrating because the list is adding and adding and adding, and it's just so frustrating to me.
It's going to be a process where we take a step back, where the
So
auction was working.
We have more councils that want to speak on it, and over 500 properties. and Attorney McKenna's excellent explanation on every single one of them. Do we want to send this to a housing subcommittee?
Can I make a motion to send it?
Yes.
By Councilor Getchia, second by
I'm not
Councilor
blaming
Robinson.
you.
Oh, no, I understand.
Please don't take that
No,
personal.
it's valuable
The
information.
housing court
You
is,
probably start at 8 o'clock in the morning or go to about Thursday, right? Yeah, so, yeah.
Counselor, can I
Excellent.
just,
On the motion, Councilor Scott?
yeah, just one comment when it comes to the Housing Subcommittee. As Counselor Getchia stated, the Lowell Housing Authority ones that are on here were sold in 2021 because I looked them up too on the city website. So those names should have fallen off from by now, you know, the care of or whatever in the assessor's office. So I don't know if this is pulling from the assessor's database and it's wrong there, or this just hasn't been updated. But can we get an updated list when it comes to the subcommittee meeting?
So
Thank you.
when you do the taking, it's the assessed owner as of that date. So it's the proper name on there. So it's the owner as of that fiscal year. So that's a proper name that'll always be on there. We do have the person's name. I think Stephanie sent it over the solicitor earlier. We can provide that updated information. So we do have the updated name.
Councilor Janess?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just real quick through you to the city manager. Just like to ask that when we get reports like this with this kind of data in this structure, would it be possible to get an Excel sheet emailed to us? I just think that would make it much easier for all of us to go through the data versus a chart that we can't filter, search, sort. Just a request. Thank you.
Councilor Young?
Just a quick comment, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much. These property list of these property divided into 3 categories: commercials and empty land, and then property occupied by resident. And with the court case, the Supreme Court and Massachusetts Attorney McKenna touched upon in Springfield, I just want to know how do we get around if we were to take the tax title in foreclosure. So we can, it's just a question that I have. We can discuss
The
it
Supreme
for the
Court-
subcommittee.
If I
Through
could
the
have that answer for the subcommittee, Mr. McKenna?
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
Sure.
All right, great. Motion on the floor is sent to a subcommittee by Councilor Getchia, second by Councilor Robinson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Mr. McKenna, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Motion response, update on the status of the Riverwalk. Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Through you to Manager Golden. Would it be safe to be able to move the bricks at least from the walkway, but not allow people down there, just to get the stuff, some of the debris cleaned up so it doesn't go into the river or anything like that?
Ms. Rose.
We actually don't know yet. They've had an assessment of the remaining parapet that didn't fall, they've been doing closer analysis on some sections of the walls that are looking like they're bulging a little. And so right now they're still sort of determining that. And so I certainly would not it's not something we'd ask DPW to do at this time. And they haven't mobilized, Mass Mills hasn't mobilized their crew to start that work yet.
Any of the debris that fell into off of the walkway, are they going to clean that up also, part of the debris cleanup?
Yes, so they're going to be responsible for the debris that fell onto the Riverwalk, and then there's like a gap between the building and the Riverwalk itself, where we know bricks and like a portion of the rail fell in, and so yes, they will be responsible for all of that.
Could you, once you find the timeline out from them, share it with the council? Because a lot of people in downtown use that walkway and they're missing it, and obviously it's going to be the whole summertime that they're going to miss it, obvious, but thank you.
Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Getchia covered most of my points. I've gotten quite a few questions on this. People wondering what's going on, why they haven't seen anything. I don't know if it's possible if we could, as this process goes along, to post updates on either end of the walkway. It says, hey, this is closed, this is where we're at now. Maybe a link to the website that talks about the issue, just so people understand and see things moving and don't just think that it's just sitting there and no one's doing anything. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
What's your response? National Grid fence on Rock Street. Councilor Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Mr. Machado, for the response. I know we're looking forward. The parent who came pick up the kids at the stock closer always ask the question, why the fence there? The sidewalk is done and beautiful. So I have to let them know that, we have to kind of take care of the ramp, the ADA ramp. So yeah, they are happy to hear that. So thank you.
Motion to accept and place on file all responses. Oh, sorry. There you go. Motion to accept the responses to the city manager. Placed on file by Councilor Yum, second by Councilor Scott. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Votes for the city manager, 6.1, vote to approve ORR permit for various establishments. Waive the full reading. Second reading by title. Authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to enter in outdoor restaurant and retail permits with Worthen House Cafe, El Puerto Mexican Bar and Grill, the Old Court, Athenian Corner, and Fused Bistro to allow for outdoor dining in retail areas. Need a motion to adopt by Councilor Leahy, second by Councilor Robinson. Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Mr. Mayor?
Oh, sorry, I apologize. Councilor Dakota?
Just a question to Ms. Baez. Obviously, it seems like it's the same eateries that are applying, and we're making them go through this whole process of the plan and doing the sketch. Can we make it easier on these establishments to do this if they've been in front of us for the last 3, 4, 5 years?
This is the first time that we're rolling out this particular version of this ordinance based on the vote that the council took a few months ago. So I think next year we'll have some of these sketches on file, but we are not using the sort of older sketches that we had used under the previous ordinance, mainly because
But they're the same sketches, though, right?
for some of them, yes. And I don't think people created new sketches. I think they're just submitting their older ones to us. But for the purpose of, record keeping and ensuring that we're following the new ordinance language, we are asking them to resubmit. Given that we, the way the ordinance is written, and because some of these streeteries take parking spaces, and so the city is giving up revenue, it will require a vote of the council. So we are going to have to ask people to let us know if they want to do them again next year, provide us insurance. So there's stuff that the owners have to update every year, things like insurance, where a sketch, if it's the same sketch that's on file, they can let us know next year it's the same thing.
Good, just trying to make it a little easier for them, that's all. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Quick.
Councilor Yum, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Quick questions about the. I noticed all the name, but I didn't see, for example, like the tasting dumpling. Is that because they already got the plan approved by Mass TDI to do the sidewalk is being done now? That's why their name is not on the list of this approval. Just a quick question. Thank you.
Ms. Baez-Rose?
So we are bringing votes to the council as we get and accept and review and approve full applications. And so they're going to come in on a rolling basis. We've informed all of the small businesses that if they're interested in having either sidewalk seating or streeteries, that what they need to submit to us. And then once we do our internal approval and sign off that they've sent us everything that they need, then we're bringing them forward for a vote. A business like Tasty Dumpling will not come for the to the council for a vote because their outdoor seating is entirely situated on their own private property. So it's not something that they need to come to us for. They do for outdoor dining if they have, if a restaurant or business is serving alcohol, they still need to go through the license commission as they would normally, but that is not something that would fall under the ORR ordinance for the council's vote.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott.
Yes.
Council Yem.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council New.
Yes.
11 years.
Section 7, reports, Subcommittee, 7.1, Public Safety Subcommittee, April 23rd, 2024. Chairman Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the Public Safety Subcommittee met on April 23rd, 5:30. Committee member myself, Councilor Chow, Councilor Yam, also present Councilor Mercier and Councilor Kachir, as well as the Superintendent Craig Houdon. The subject matters was discussion around the cap. To date, the up-to-date Superintendent Houdon reported that the police department have installed a new hardware and software that will allow the officers to access the city network remotely and utilize the LAMWAR, the computer aid dispatch, report management system, and report writing function, as well as a complete state and registry of motor vehicle crash report. The install 240 cruiser to date and 4 dispatch iPad basically assigned to detective, special unit, and I think other personnel maybe. That's what had been happening. They did run into a minor software connectivity, and Superintendent Hudon reported that that should be taken care of for less than 2 weeks. Everything will be run by then smoothly. All type reports, say accident report, arrest report, incident report, will be done from Cruiser using the CAT system and more. We talk about also the usefulness of the CAT system. The CAT system, it make the it brings efficiencies to see call on the CAT before the call, give the officers a head start, reducing the need to to go on or to turn the siren on and then at a high rate of speed. That will reduce officers and safety, public safety risk by having the CAT system. By having the CAT system, it's allowing for officers to read report for history on the party or incident prior to going to the call. This allowed the officers to have better knowledge of the party involved. They're reducing the risk for officer preparedness. It eliminated the need for officers to travel out of their area to write report at the precinct while allowing the officers visibilities to the public and serve as crime deterrent while on patrol. Those are some of the usefulness for the CAT system. We also talk about the use of body camera. That was rolled out on the use of body cameras back in February 2023 to 3 officers with policies and training to up to date. We have 211 body cameras, basically on all officers that we have. Policy and training has been implemented. Concerned about privacy issues or storage of the video footage. At the outset, the officers will advise the person that he or she interact, that they're being recorded, and that's policies that the police officers has to tell individual that they interact with, that they've been videotaped. Officers are not allowed. Officers are required to not required to turn off the camera, right? So however, in the cases, say, if it's sexual assault cases, right, it's sensitive when you talk to witnesses and stuff like that. Officers, before turn off the camera, would say, okay, why he or she turn off the camera? Because of the subject matter that they discuss. If they choose to turn off the camera, they have to do that. Make notice and that the camera then turn off. There are situations that the officer would not respond to or disregard the individual, said turn it off. If it's out in the public and the officer respond to it. The whole point, the whole idea, Superintendent report that the whole idea is that for body camera is to show interaction and transparency. And so, and that's the usefulness of it. All footage are stored in the cloud basis, overseen by the vendor to ensure that compliant with the public record law. The also question around the issues of live streaming. The body camera will not be able to do that, the live streaming. That's what the superintendent report. admissibility in court, Councilor asked as well, is that so the judge will make those decisions, what admissible and what not, right? And what weight the judge will give that. But so that's for the court to do so. Depend on the type of cases, the video footage will retain from 180 days to maybe lifetime, right? Then the third matter we talk about with regard to LPD is staffing recruitment. We now have 29 vacancy, and the manager has authorized the chief to hire 20. There's 16 now. Yeah, the 16 now start the academy, and the academy actually started May 13. Not start yet, from what I understand. Yeah, May 13, and the academy will run for about 23 weeks. So hopefully he will get the officers, all the officers he needed. He's also said that the chief also said that recruitment never stopped. They're recruiting through MCC, UMass Lowell, and cadet program. But also there's another special tool that is the pending legislation. It is an alternative pathway to hiring, right? So that legislature has not passed that yet, but he hoped that that will work, that will pass. That may allow the city to waive civil service exam. He didn't say that that will allow the city to do that, but they're also saying that that may also change definition of residency. So that's the report for the subcommittee, given that we've been postponed for 2-3 times. Yeah. So yes, that's a report of progress, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 7.2, Technology and Utilities Subcommittee, April 24, 2024. Chairman Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Technology and Utilities Subcommittee met on the 24th, continuing our meeting, our previous meeting where we had a couple of items on the agenda. Present on a roll call were myself, Councilor Scott, Councilor Chow, City Manager Golden, Moran, the city's Chief Information Officer, Moran Fernandez, Austin Ball, City of Lowell's Deputy Chief Financial Officer, and Councilor Eric Gitcher. The first item we talked about was the proposed reorganization of the city's MIS enterprise. Right now, the way that things are structured, City Hall has MIS, Public Safety has, well, the police have their MIS, Fire has their MIS, the Career Center has their MIS. They're all kind of separate, and that's led to many issues that became evident in the result of last year's cyber situation. One of the most clear issues was there was no centralized inventory of software licenses. So when everything had to be torn apart and rebuilt, there was a lack of that licensing information to be able to reinstall and redeploy the software to everybody who needed it. Because over the years, a department may have bought a piece of software on their own, had that documentation, somebody put it in a drawer, moved on from the job 10 years ago, that software is still in use, and now today, no one knows where that licensing information is. So that led to some significant challenges. Really, one of the biggest drivers of this is to try to centralize all that knowledge and to be able to more efficiently get through the work and be able to work smarter. The MIS is also experiencing a pretty significant backlog of service requests. There's 1,400 service requests currently in the backlog, despite over 15,000 being accomplished by the City Hall MIS staff since June 11th of 23. So it's really, this is an effort to really modernize the enterprise, modernize the way that we're working, and to be able to build more resiliency, be able to deliver services smarter and faster. Doing so will be a consolidation of jobs, or consolidation of those different departments we talked about earlier, not necessarily different departments, but different organizations within MIS, and bringing it really into 3 verticals, all under the Chief Information Officer, to support public safety, to support the operations of the city, and to support the applications that the city rolls out to all the employees and some that face the public. After that discussion of this proposed plan, we moved on to discussing the proposed deputy CIO position. This position is critical for succession planning and day-to-day management with the proposed 31 positions in this new organizational structure. The need for this type of role is developed and has been implemented in many other municipalities and organizations. We have many deputy chiefs across many of our departments currently. We lack that on the information side of things. So we talked about how this came to be. We had a good discussion as to how this position was going to come to be. They were hoping to bring this position along quickly to be able to hire and get the ground running, because this position is critical to the proposed restructuring we talked about previously. At the end of that discussion, Councilor Chow made a motion to bring the Deputy Chief Information Officer position back before the City Council to schedule for a public hearing on the ordinance, and that motion was passed unanimously. That's the report.
Thank you. We need a motion to accept both reports as reported progress by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Getchia. Councilor Coe, you want to say something?
Yes. For the councilors that did not go to the subcommittee, I didn't get anything in my packet on an organizational chart.
Mr. Manager?
Did anybody else who did not go to the subcommittee get one in their packet?
No.
I don't think it's up for a vote yet, right?
That was not something we took action.
Oh, you did not?
Yeah. That was not something that was required action of the subcommittee. It was just an informational piece. I'm sure that information could be shared, but that was not an action item for us. It was just a report.
So we're going to bring this to a public hearing then, or?
Yes, all of those changes, any creation of new jobs, et cetera, will have to go through the public hearing process and all of that. This was just, it was a forward-looking, this is where we're going kind of thing.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I apologize. So the deputy CIO position is the one that we'll be discussing. The reorg will bring towards the budget, but we'd gladly show it to you. I mean, I think everyone's been looking at it. We'll make sure we can get it to everybody as to what we think needs to happen with the reorganization of our MIS structure, and we can get that to the rest of the councilors if you're interested via email. Be appropriate. Great.
Councilor Getchia?
If you could do that, Mr. Manager, in going forward, if they have these packets in advance, some of that may interest the council before the meeting, but if it just comes to, they don't get those early enough, they don't get to those meetings. So if we have a packet that's going to be given to a subcommittee a day in advance, could we send that out to the full council so that they could know exactly what we're talking about? Because that meeting, I had no idea on. That we're going to talk, about a total reorg of those types of numbers, and I'm sure the rest of the council didn't know either. And then we just opened it up and we're like, whoa, look at this. So I just think it would have been interesting for the whole council to have this in advance, and maybe we would have got more people than just the usual.
Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. If it's the will of the council, you're all chairs at different times. We'll share all the information with your colleagues if that's appropriate, and if every councilor feels that is something that they want. And I see that happening, so we'll make sure that happens in the future. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, could I make that in the form of a motion that we get the packet a day in advance of any subcommittees, if available?
By Councilor Getchia, second by Councilor Dakota. All those in favor say aye. Motion passes. As far as we goes to the report of progress of both subcommittees, by Councilor Leahy, second by Councilor Mercia. All those in favor say aye. That also passes. Section 8 petitions, 8.1, 3 property damage claims. Motion to refer to Law Department for report recommendation by Councilor Noon, second by Councilor Yem. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 8.2, miscellaneous. Jacqueline Almeida Vargas requests installation of a handicap parking sign in front of 134 Lakeview Avenue. Motion to refer to transportation engineer for report recommendation by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Leahy. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 9, City Council, Executive Session. 9.1, discuss matters of litigation, open meeting complaint, public discussions of which may have a detrimental effect on the city's position. We need a motion to enter executive session and to adjourn from that session by Councilor Getchia, second by Councilor Dakota.
Yes.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott.
Yes.
Council Yim.
Yes.
Council Chow. Yes. Council Dakota.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Noon.
Here, yes.
11 yeas.
Announcements? Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick heads up for anyone who may not have had an opportunity to catch the professional women's hockey over at the Songus Arena. Their last game of the regular season is coming up this Saturday. Looks to be a pretty good crowd, so it should be a good time, and just wanted to throw that out there for anyone who might be looking for something to do this weekend.
Thank you. See you in executive session.